Hey everyone, welcome to this new YouTube channel. I'll be your host, Castellan. Yeah, the name is a little on the nose, but there is a good reason for it. Castellan is actually a very obscure name for someone who has a castle. And look, I have a castle. Well, part of a castle. Maybe part of a keep, or just a gatehouse. Maybe a fortified manor house. The point is, it's somewhat castle-ish. I have it, and I'm going to show you it. And here's a reverse shot while I ramble on a little bit. I've been building castles since I was about 6 years old and got Black Falcon's Fortress. And one of the things I had wanted to do in my late teenage years, when I started getting out of this and went to college and got completely out of LEGO for a while, was build something with some real bulk to it. Big 3 or 4 story thing, and that's where this guy started up. At some point, I also wanted to make this guy fold out like those old castles. Black Falcon's Fortress, King's Castle, which I unfortunately never got, and a few of those early ones. If you look at the corner, I've got spots where I was planning on having things swing out, but I just haven't got around to that because I have a tiny little place that doesn't really have room for a castle that folds out at the moment. And back to the front. You have probably noticed already that this is not built in the traditional castle colors of gray and dark gray. There's a reason for that. I implied before that this is my first castle I've built in a long time, and I wanted to do something different. Part of that meant different color scheme, using the tan and darker tan colors that weren't available when I was around as a kid, and of course utilizing a lot more wood than I did on typical castles back in the day. That gives this castle, gatehouse, whatever, fortified manor house, that gives a different flavor, a bit less refined. Wood castles, those were a thing. And if we call this a manor house, it doesn't need to be solid granite. It can be limestone or sandstone or wood and plaster or mud brick or any number of things. Basically, it was something different. Okay, got the camera off the Steadicam, so please forgive any shakiness, but this will also give us a closer view. The other thing you have probably noticed by now is that this castle is manned by orcs, and goblins, and the occasional urukai. Why did I do this? Well, because I had a lot of orcs around and wanted to do something with them, and once again because I wanted to do something different with this castle. So here it is, a castle run by orcs. And now let's focus in on the gates of our little castle, where, once I zoom in, you see we have a pair of urukai standing watch, and a pair of heavy iron, or at least ironclad gates. One of our uruks is fully armored, and the other is standing there with just his sword and shield, where he is being greeted by a goblin who is just coming in from the field, probably out scavenging supplies and such. And just for fun, here's an extreme close-up on our uruk at the gates. His name is Ka'al, but if you want to annoy him, you can, like the goblin, call him Kal-El. I'm sure you can figure out why. Now, I want to show off one other feature that I've built into this castle. I got this from the new LEGO modular sets, which are really neat, and the neatest part of them is that you can take off each level. So I have tried to add that feature into this castle. So, just to show that off real quick, top part comes off, and then once again you can take off this level to get at the lower area. Alright, here's a closer view of the upper level. Now, if this weren't a castle manned by orcs, I might put a lord and lady in here. Turn this into a bedchamber, a place to watch, and just some living quarters. But it's manned by orcs. So instead, right now it's kind of bare, Got an orc looking at an empty chest. Guess they spent all their war money. Got a guy walking over the gates, a couple steps up. One other new aspect for me on this castle was I put in some barred windows rather than just the typical castle loopholes. But a bit more light, can still shoot out of them. But they're also pretty big, so that makes this castle less secure than a traditional castle. Now I really have to zoom in to get a decent view of this, but on this side of the keep we have a little fireplace with a hearth that juts into the room just a little bit, a few Lego flames, and if we look on the outside, we have a chimney that goes all the way up, although I did not really do anything to that on the roof. But you can also see the chimney goes down to the ground, so you know you can expect something more on that on the lowest floor. And now a look at the ground floor. First, on this side, we've got a little well where one orc is watering his warg. Gotta keep your mounts nice and in good health. We've got, next to that, the main entry where people can walk through, get into the rest of the castle. Got a pair of torches there just to keep things lit. And then, like on the floor above, on this side, we have a fireplace. Let's see if I can get a good view of it. Here is actually the blacksmith shop for the castle. So the fireplace here is a roaring fireplace, where you can stick a whole sword in to get it all nice and manageable. And then, take it over here and hammer it on the anvil. Got a couple of extra swords in a bucket there, mace on the wall, and a couple orcs forging away. And there you have it, an overview of this orcish keep. I know it's not really well thought out, it's not really refined, it's certainly not complete, but it's the first castle I have tried to build in a good long time. I enjoyed it, and I felt like sharing it. Hope you enjoyed the watch. Stay tuned, I may have more videos eventually, and I will see you then.